Hey chess shut-ins, this is the Patzer with the chess.com puzzle for March 26th, 2020. Let's take a look. This is a patzer-level puzzle, by which I mean this is a puzzle that a patzer can solve. And I know that because I am a patzer and I solved it. So let's take a look, and then we're going to find out why the Stockfish Engine plays this puzzle just a little differently. Kind of interesting. But first, we'll take a look at the chess.com solution. Starts out with the queen checking the king. King gets out of the way. Queen goes down there and sacrifices itself. And of course, if you play these puzzles often enough, you know that the chess.com folks love queen sacrifices. And this one is no different. And of course, at this from right here, the king has got no choice. The king has to take that queen. It can't escape. There's nowhere to go. So takes the queen, and then the knight, as knights are prone to do, forks the king and the black queen, and that's the puzzle. You get that far, you have solved the puzzle. Now, of course, that puzzle basically just means that the queens are off the board. And we've still got a couple of knights, and we've got some pawns. And of course, white's maybe a little bit up there because it's got 4 pawns and black's only got 3 pawns. So what happens? Well, first of all, let's go back and let's see what happens when the Stockfish Engine plays this puzzle. I set the puzzle up. I let the Stockfish Engine play it however it wants. And that first move is just the same. But what does black do, or what does the Stockfish Engine have black do from this position? Does the Stockfish Engine have the king get out of the way? No. The Stockfish Engine says, hey, you want to trade queens? Let's get it over with, man. And that's what happens. So, in essence, it's the same. It's sort of the same solution to the puzzle. In a different fashion. But what happens next? What I like about puzzles like these, of course, is that you can solve them, but then the remaining question is, yeah, but can you win? Can you mate black? And as it happens, and by the way, I tried, and of course, as a patzer, I couldn't do it. And when you see the Stockfish Engine do it, well, I say to myself, why didn't I think of that? And of course, the first thing is to get that pawn in the A file down as close as you can to get itself promoted, because that leaves the black knight stuck in that position. Not very useful. Meanwhile, of course, white is gobbling up all of those extra pawns. And now, of course, white's in the catbird seat because, well, it's just going to take that knight once it promotes the pawn. And that's what happens. And now, well, black's goose is cooked, right? And as a Stockfish Engine always seems to do, it always finds the absolute minimum requirements to mate, So mate in 28 moves, game over. It's a little bit longer, I think, to play it out from the way the chess.com folks think it should go. Here's that one. Of course, it kind of has the same flavor because it's all about that starting out by trying to promote the pawn in the A file, although oddly enough, of course, it ends up being the pawn in the F file that gets promoted. There we have it, mate in 24 moves. So, of course, the Stockfish Engine, 28 moves. That's because the Stockfish Engine always takes the long view. It always, it's always interested in prolonging the suffering for whichever side is going to suffer. So 28 moves versus 24 for the chess.com solution. Either way, black loses. So once again, this is the patzer. Get out from behind the 8 ball, and I'll speak to you soon.